Hashem Sfasei Tifach Ufia Gitol Asacha. We're now in the fourth parak of Tehilim. This parak is the first time that we have the word Lamnatseach. Lamnatseach. What is a minatseach? So a minatseach, according to some, is the conductor of an orchestra. That the Leviim used to, they would sing, and there would be nigi notes, which are instruments or different kinds of instruments, and all of that would be in the service of Hashem, so that to bring out the chachma of people, that music really impacts on the soul. And so calling out to the conductor of this musical, that this parak and many of the other parakim of Tehillim were really accompanied by music to have a maximum effect. The other idea is that from the word nitzach, eternity. This is David HaMelech's call to all eternity. These prakim are there to impact on all of us. They're not just David running away from Avshalom, but they're David being David. His message and the message of Tehillim is an eternal message. And we're going to get some really important messages from this parak. One last final idea is when we're talking about the orchestra, when we're talking about the conductor, we're talking about HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who it might seem like the musical instruments are really competing with one another because this sound is louder, this sound is more quiet, but that's not the case. Hashem conducts everyone gets exactly what they need, which is such an important message to us. And it's a Mizmor LeDavid. We know that this is the first David HaMelech is, he's happy, and he is doing what he calls out and he sings, and then HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives him the nevuah, which is again, happiness leads to a higher level of our relationship with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So B'kar'i anini, when I called to you, of course you answered me. Elokai tzidki, you're so batzar herchavtali. So batzar, in my narrowness you widened me. That is a really important message. Hashem, when I'm narrow, when there are things when all of these possibilities seem to be closing in on me and it's not good and I feel hopeless and I don't feel like I have a broad perspective that could problem solve effectively. Herchavtali, you widened it. You give me a better perspective on life. You give me the answers, or you solve my problems and you take me out of my tough situation. Chanini Ushmat Tvilasi. Here is another life lesson. Chanini, I cried out, I daven chanun. HaKadosh Baruch Hu hears the tfilos of someone who calls out to him because he believed. So first there's the belief in Hashem that you can widen my way, and then Shema Tfilasi, then you can hear my tfilos because I'm davening in the right way. How do we daven correctly? We daven by having some bitachon first. First we believe, Hashem, you helped me before in my life, you'll help me again. And then the davening can be more easily accepted because it's a deeper level of davening. It's a real true connection to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Where do we learn that from, and what kind of davening is this? We know Moshe Rabbeinu in Parshas Va'eschanan. The Rashi there says that HaKadosh Baruch Hu listened to Moshe's tefillah, that Moshe was asking, like, just for a gift. Hashem, just give it to me. I don't deserve it, just give it to me anyway. But because I don't want to take away from my schar, but please give it to me. So here too, it's the lashon of tefillah. David HaMelech davens, and Hashem with bitachon, Hashem answers. Next, B'nai Ish, important people, either people that, all of you important people that are chasing after me, says David, or a broader perspective, all of you people of, that you used to come from Avram and Yitzchak, you came from high stock, you Goyim, but you are the people you're taking away from my kavod because you're not calling me by my name. David HaMelech says, remember, Shaul didn't call him by name, all of his enemies didn't call him by his name. We also know that Kalev, when he wanted to gather the people, and people were already being upset with Moshe, he said, Ben Amram. Oh, he didn't call him by his name. Okay, let's hear what Kalev has to say. And then, then Kalev turned the message around on the people and said good messages about Moshe Rabbeinu. But there was an idea of just taking away kavod by not calling someone by their name. Another life lesson. To have Rick, those people that you care about the wrong things. Anything that anyone that loves kesef, that loves money, is never going to be happy with money. Anyone that loves kavod, you're never going to be happy with kavod. Whatever you love, if it's not for Hashem, it's never going to bring you satisfaction. We know. But here, Tibakshu kazav sela. How long are you going to go after the wrong things? You should know, ki hifli Hashem chasidlo. Who does Hashem give miracles to? And who does Hashem single out? The person who's a chassid. Who's a chassid? A person who's a chassid is a person who cares about Hashem and does things to Hashem for the right reasons. Those people, Yishma B'Kari Alav. Those people Hashem will hear. All you have to do is come to Hashem, not for your own personal gain, but just come to Hashem for Hashem's sake, and bam, you get Hashem will listen to you right away. Rigzu, tremble, Va'al techatu, do not sin. How do we get to that? New life lesson, Imru belvavchem al mishkavchem b'domusela. New life lesson is every night before you go to sleep, stay silent and contemplate. Think about your day. Take some time to meditate. Take some time to journal. Take some time to do something before you go to sleep. In that way, you can reflect on your day. And in that way, it leads to the next pasuk, which zivchu zivchei tzedek. How could we be righteous and say righteous things and not say one thing but really mean something else? Ubitzchu el Hashem, and come to bitachon in Hashem. You know how you do that? By contemplating the night before. Don't go through life just like letting it go, with life passing you by without actually stopping and thinking about where you need to be. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I don't want your zivchei, I don't want your plain sacrifices that are worth nothing. I want the real ones. And how do we get to that? Through contemplation and through believing in Hashem. Rabim Omrim, many say, Mir Enu Tov. Here is another important problem that happened. So first it was, you love the rik, the things that are not really valuable. The next is, people look at other people and they want what they have. When am I going to get that? Nasa alinu or panech Hashem, just like Yisa Hashem panav elecha. When do I get the brachas? When do I get to marry off my child? When do I get to have health? When do I get to have money? When do I get to have what seemingly other people have? That is the way that is just going to bring about despair. And what is the opposite? David HaMelech says, Nasata simcha b'livi. Hashem, you gave me simcha in my heart. Me'istig anamatur Hashem rabu. I see what others have, and I think to myself, wait a second, Hashem, you have infinite bracha. You gave it to them, so I see that you have infinite bracha. If I don't have it, that means I don't need it right now. That means I have the possibility. Hashem doesn't have limits. He can give it to me whenever he wants. If he's not giving it to me, it's for a reason. And so that brings me simcha. I could fargin. And if I could fargin, that leads me to a new level of bitachon. So the bitachon helps to fargin, and to fargin helps to have a level of bitachon. And David HaMelech is saying, I am the happiest person. I have simcha in my heart. It doesn't matter what I have enough because I have simcha. And that is, people in life, they can have everything, but they're not happy. And here, David HaMelech is saying, I have whatever I'm supposed to have, and that is bitachon. And this is at a time where he's really struggling. Yes, he's David HaMelech, he had a lot, but he's struggling. And so here we see what it means, b'tzar harchabtali. We see how he was widened, how his perspective in life is broader than himself, that he can really live through life in a way that is fundamentally going to lead him to a broader, wider life, a scope that is going to be lead him to simcha and really good things. And how do we know that? The last pasuk, he gives a b'shalom yachtav eshkava v'yishan. First of all, I can sleep in peace. Like, my life is, I can sleep soundly, which again, we know these are the 4 prakim that we say, that some people say after Kriya Shema Lamita. These first Aleph through Daled are the psukim, because again, it references sleeping. But also, ki ata Hashem levadad. Hashem, you're one and only. You're alone. We are also, Bilam calls us Am levadad yishkon. We are the people of alone. Here is another life lesson. Sometimes it's good to be alone. It's good. You don't have to be with the bad influences. You can take the time. If there's nothing that's going to be good and beneficial, then it's better to be alone. And lebetach toshiveni, and I know that you keep me safe, and so for that reason, I give a bracha to those people, the chotzim, the people that sin, yitamu chataim min haaretz, that the sins, the chataim should be destroyed from the land, not the chotzim, the people. He wishes them well because he's forgiving. He doesn't take what they have to say and be like, oh my gosh, you guys have a vendetta against me. He said, no, it's all part of the plan of Hashem. And with that perspective, he can even give them a bracha. And so that's really the happiness factor. He's going through such tough time, but these messages are eternal. First, have bitachon when you daven. Then daven. And know that Hashem is. And how do we get to davening? How do we get to that? Have contemplation before we go to sleep. have idea that sometimes we can be alone, and do the best that we can to really have a wider perspective, daven for a wider perspective, because every trial and tribulation in life leads us to a higher level of empathy, a higher level of depthness in our character, and it's so hard, but it really does benefit us in some way. And if David HaMelech can see it with all the difficult times that he's going through, then we should take it to heart, and we should be able to do that as well.